Welcome back everyone, Mudford here. Today I have to do some work on the F350. So this is a 2002 Ford F350. It's in okay shape, not rusted out quite as bad as a lot of them, but it's starting to get bad. The rockers are pretty much gone, but you can't see them because of the style of the truck. So I've got the trailer hooked up. What I was going to do was get some more wood pellets that I burned, but you can see I've got a few oil spots here where I was parked and lots of oil. Normally this thing does leak oil, but it's not usually in this quantity. You can see right there, it's been pouring out as soon as I turn it on. Okay, it might be kind of loud down there, but I'm going to try to get the camera right in to show you where it's leaking. Where the dipstick goes in through the oil pan. There's a big adapter there with a nut and a gasket, and it's leaking terrible. And it's gonna go something like this. We're done here in the fender well too. Okay, so my parts came in. There's various different kits you can order for this. Apparently this just has a whole bunch of O-rings in it. And this is a tool here to help keep us from dropping that inner piece into the oil pan and losing it. And then I also got some RTV. So you can see I already took the starter out. First thing you're going to want to do before you start working on this, disconnect both batteries. Take the wire off the starter, the big wire and the small wire, and then get your starter out of the way. A lot of people will tell you to pull the dipstick tube out right now, but I'm going to say hang on, because what we're going to do first is, while everything is still fastened in there and closed up and somewhat sealed up, I'm going to spray a whole bunch of brake parts cleaner in there, and I'm going to get in all the nooks and crannies I can with this toothbrush and clean as much grease and oil and dirt out of there as I can before we open anything up. So this is what we're looking at. We have a little bit better view now with the starter out of the way. You can see the starter would be right up to it. And now we have some room to work in here. These are the transmission lines that are kind of right in the way a little bit. Not too bad though. And then this is the starter wires that I took off. So they'll just hang down here. So I'm just going to get up in here. Not going to be able to really video, I don't think, while I'm spraying and cleaning, but I'm just going to get up in here with brake parts cleaner and clean up as good as I possibly can. Okay, that looks pretty darn good. We're going to call that as clean as we're going to get it for now, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the dipstick tube. The nut for the dipstick tube is right there. It's on the passenger side valve cover towards the front. This is right under the air conditioning pump. Okay, I had a heck of a time getting that dipstick tube out of the adapter. I ended up having to put vice grips on it, on the tube, and then tap on the vice grips with a hammer while I was kind of wiggling them. And then it finally moved. Now comes the tricky part. This is the tool that I got. So we are gonna insert it in here. Boy, I don't know. I guess it's pretty tight now. Yeah, that should be all right. Actually, I don't like the way it's in there. I'm gonna get it over more like this. So now we shouldn't be able to lose the inner part down inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a big pair of channel locks, and I'm going to loosen that nut, and then we'll see what we're dealing with. It didn't take much at all for me to get that nut loosened. I just have a really big pair of channel locks right there. I slipped them up underneath the transmission lines and it came right loose. So now is the part where we find out how bad a shape we're in. If we pull this off and we get the O-ring out and it's just swelled a little bit, that's what we're hoping for. If we find the back piece all bent up, then we're in trouble. Okay, this tool has enough room for you to take the nut right off. You can use needle nose vice grips down in there. Ooh, I'm caught on something. That ain't good. There we go. Well, that's nice. It fell right in the oil. So I think now I'm going to have to spray it back down again. I'm going to let this oil run off, and then I'm going to spray it down with brake parts clean in air. And then we'll be able to see what it looks like. So make sure you don't let yours fall down into the oil. If the part of this adapter that is behind the pan here is bent, then we'll have to use silicone. Just got to fish this out and slip it over without dropping it. So I'm going to have to set the camera down. Okay, I was able to fish the gasket out, the O-ring, and you can see it's not round anymore. Very distorted. I don't think I over-torqued it. I did try tightening it up just a little bit when I first noticed it leaking. I should be okay. I'm going to try to get in there and show you as much as I can of the backside to see if it's damaged or not. But I think we might have lucked out. Just to give you an idea of how much these gaskets swell. Hey, get out of here, stupid chicken. So this kit actually gives you 5 of these, which is pretty cool. You could actually, for the money, you could actually do 5. But huge difference. I don't know how well you can see it. I'll try to get it down here. Not only is the diameter this way bigger, but the actual cross-section diameter of it is way bigger. It's swelled so much. So I was able to move the adapter around a little bit and get a look at it, and it doesn't appear to be damaged or bent. What it is it's supposed to be flat like this around the edge, like at a 90 to the threaded part. And if somebody over torques it, it'll bend it like that, and then the O-ring will not seal. Mine still appeared to be pretty flat, so that's one positive out of this. We're still going to put a little bit of this RTV on this, and it'll kind of help stick it in the groove there and hold it in the groove where it's supposed to be. Just a little bit on the inside. We're going to get it up into place, and then I'm going to goop it right around the seam at the base of the threads and the oil pan. Then we're going to go ahead. I got the nut here. My kit did not come with a nut. Some of them will. I cleaned it up and got a look at the threads. The threads appear to be okay. You got to be real careful and make sure you don't cross thread it, because you don't got a lot of threads here. I mean, you just got a couple. When we're ready to put the nut back on, we're going to take some of this red Loctite and we're going to put it around the threads here to help hold it in place. The red is the really high strength stuff. It'll be kind of a pain taking off, but I think it's worth it because we do not want this to back off at all. Okay, now I've got to try to not get RTV all over my GoPro. I had to use a lot of RTV to get the O-ring to stick in the groove. It kept wanting to fall out, and you can tell by if the threads coming out, sticking out through the pan are crooked. It'll feel like it's not quite fitting flush, and then you know you have your O-ring pinched. Pulled the O-ring back out, put a whole bunch of RTV on it, and I got it to stick in the groove finally. So I've got red Loctite on the nut threads, and I put a bead of caulk around the outside there where this is going to sit. I didn't get a gasket with mine. Some of them do come with a gasket, but I'm just RTVing it, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this on. So I'm going to set the camera down so I don't end up losing everything I got by knocking that into the oil in the pan. You just want to be real easy on it. You don't want to cross thread this. I've got it started quite a ways by hand. I'm not even going to have to tighten it too much. Okay, I just popped the tool out. This is all in place. I just need to put my other O-ring on here and pop this in, and then we're going to put the starter on. And we're going to let it dry for a few hours, and then we will see if we're fixed. Okay, we got everything buttoned up. Got everything buttoned up now. And I let the RTV dry for a few hours. We're going to go ahead and start it and see if it's cured. Success story for today. That didn't take as long as I thought. I'm actually pretty happy about that. So now it's only leaking oil out the normal other 5 places it leaks oil at, but not massively. So we should be all set to go for our ATV ride tomorrow.